Okay, we're to chapter 4 in Aleister Crowley. As we're going down the list here of the most influential people and families of the last 250 or so years who had a hand in the progression of the Great Plan, it is important to show that universally they are all connected with Freemasonry, which is the modern-day stronghold of the Great Plan to bring in the New World Order, also known as the biblically prophesied One World Government. Confirmed 33rd degree Freemason Aleister Crowley, 1875 to 1947, was referred to in his home country of Great Britain as the, quote, wickedest man alive, unquote, as Crowley once bragged to have ceremonially sacrificed over 150 children in 1 year, among other demonic acts. He was allegedly also a 90th degree Misraim rite Freemason, a black magic echelon of Freemasonry. Quote, for the highest spiritual working one must accordingly choose that victim which contains the greatest and purest force. A male child of perfect innocence and high intelligence is the most satisfactory and suitable victim. But the bloody sacrifice, though more dangerous, is more efficacious, and for nearly all purposes human sacrifice is the best. In the sacrifice during invocation, however, it may be said without fear of contradiction that the death of the victim should coincide with the supreme invocation, unquote. Aleister Crowley, from the book he wrote by automatic hand, Magic in Theory and Practice, talking about how effective it is to use human sacrifice as a vehicle to interact with the demonic entities. Crowley was also allegedly a pansexual, meaning sexual attraction to people of all genders. In other words, he engaged in homosexual activity, but didn't particularly consider it gay sex, but pansexual sex, and more accurately ritual sex, to be used during black magic ceremonies. A lot of the people running the world also have this exact same view as we're going to go over. Referring to himself as the Great Beast from the Book of Revelation, Aleister Crowley allegedly had his first mystical experience with the supernatural in Sweden in December of 1896. This according to numerous Crowley biographers. This particular incident had to do with Crowley's first sexual experience with a man, the beginning of his pansexuality. This is far too deep of a topic for this book and will be better addressed in the addendum to this book, but sex and particular sexual acts can be used to interact with the supernatural realm, the same as mind-altering drugs, animal-human sacrifices, chanting certain sounds or syllables, aligning candles, fire, torches, and occult symbols such as the pentagram, hexagram, etc. It is my belief that all of these particular actions that have been passed down over the millennia are based in blaspheming the Creator God to the maximum amount possible in order to cause a supernatural opening or rip in our 3D time-space continuum, briefly allowing the interdimensionals access into our world. When you put all of the actions I listed together and more in one place at one time is when the real supernatural sparks fly. Crowley was incidentally raised in the strictest Christian household, and when Crowley's father died at age 11, it was his anger towards God over his death that triggered his descent into evil. He explored any and all avenues of blaspheming God, and it is through this dogged determination to spite God to the maximum degree that he was able to supernaturally formulate his philosophies and write his books, which are considered occult masterpieces. This man, Crowley, has had a tremendous influence on our society and contributed greatly to the moral degeneration and resulting societal collapse that is currently well underway. Aleister Crowley enrolled at Trinity College in Cambridge in England in 1895 until age 21 when his trust fund kicked in. He then quit school to devote himself to a life of complete hedonism and the occult. In 1898, Crowley was initiated into the occult Freemason-founded Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, the beginning of his affiliation with various occult groups. This group arguably had the biggest influence on 20th century occultism. In 1904, Crowley began to receive supernatural revelations from an interdimensional entity he called Alwas, who was supposedly a messenger from the Egyptian god Horus, who himself is a representation of Tammuz Nimrod. Over a period of only 3 days, Crowley wrote by automatic hand the book entitled The Book of the Law, which is widely used in occult circles today. Alwas told Crowley that a new age had dawned for mankind and that he was a prophet. Crowley's crowning statement, quote, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law," unquote, was revered by the countercultural movement in the 60s, morphing into, quote, "If it feels good, do it," unquote, and, quote, "Do your own thing," unquote. These are all variations of Crowley's original hedonistic Luciferian philosophy. Crowley went on to pen other occult books through channeling this Alwas entity, even creating his own religion based on his beliefs and teachings from this evil being called Thelema. Not only this, but Crowley, who was also a talented artist, drew a sketch of another supernatural being named Lamb. He called his guru, and it turns out his alleged guru looks exactly like all modern-day depictions of a gray alien. Keep in mind that this was many years before people knew what aliens were even supposed to look like. Again, what you and I would call aliens today were called demons in ancient times, and they are not creatures from another world as we are deceptively led to believe, but interdimensional entities full of malevolence toward the Creator God's personal project, mankind. In 1910, Crowley joined the OTO, the Ordo Templi Orientis. The OTO is the highest-ranking Luciferian Freemasonic organization in the world. Crowley took it over in 1921 and then proceeded to rewrite the temple's doctrine to best fit his satanic intentions. Crowley introduced the practice of male-on-male sex magic into OTO as one of the initiations into the highest degrees of the order, for he believed it to be the most powerful and effective way of immersing people in black magic and supernatural interaction short of human sacrifice. Now take a minute and reflect how the homosexual lifestyle and sodomy in general is being shoved down our throats today in the mainstream media, and you can probably begin to see the handwriting on the wall by the proponents of the Great Plan. There's much more to explore and say about Aleister Crowley, including such facts as that he was a personal tutor of Aldous Huxley, one of the godfathers of the 60s movement. Crowley was also good friends with L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology, among other talking points. Alright, that's the reading of that subchapter, and I don't know, this video could bring in a new set of trolls that seem to have their antenna up for their heroes or their ones they are chosen to defend, and that's fine. I mean, it really is. We need all the input we can get, even if it's from trolls, just to kind of see where they're coming from. But anyway, that's it for this one, and next time it'll be a subchapter about Manly P. Hall, so I'll talk to you then.